Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gorilla and The Geek, the podcast for sweaty nerds by sweaty nerds. My name is Kyle from Geeks Weekly, and I'm here with my good pal, Johnny Streams, Johnny Stees, John, the Ginger Gorilla. John, how you doing?
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to episode 3. Just a heads up, as we are always open here. Now, me and Kyle may have moved to a big boy setup, kind of. We don't know. Once again, we're still not face to face because I'm hideous to look at. Kyle's beautiful, so I'd always love to stare at him. But we are over the internet as always, most natural form. But now we're going over Discord, right? Because PlayStation servers are down exactly at the time that we want to record the podcast. So they just don't want us to succeed here.
DJ Khaled was right. They don't want to see us succeed.
Nope. So, as always, I think we should start off with Kyle's topic of the week.
And all right,
we'll
so
go from there.
My topic is something that happened a little while ago, but it's something that's kind of been on my mind and people haven't left alone, so I figure why not talk about it? So, what I wanted to discuss is what makes something art? Now, this initial topic stems from, for those of you who don't know, one of the all-time greatest directors. He's probably my number one. Martin Scorsese said he gave a quote in saying that he believes that Marvel movies are not cinema. He compared them more to theme parks. I actually have the quote right in front of me, per the Variety report. He says, and I quote, "I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema. Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, rather, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being." Now, this, of course, gave like huge fan outrage. People within the superhero movie going community were up in arms about this, saying, "How could you say this? Blah, blah, blah." Talking about his involvement with the Joker. And it's something that pissed me off at first as well. But I've tried to be as objective as possible, as I usually do try to do. And I do think that it opens up to a broader conversation of, well, isn't it just a conversation of like, is entertainment also considered art? What makes something art and what makes something not art? And I kind of wanted to know what you thought about it.
I mean, obviously, I always think that people are going to poo-poo something that they're not a fan of, which is a shame because I think art is very vast, especially nowadays. I mean, back in, who knows, like the 50s or whatever, people probably limited the word down to like specific things. Whether it is just like, your stereotypical art, which is like a painting, a statue, things like that. I didn't necessarily think, I don't know if people would have considered, unless you're in the business, that like a TV show was art, or stuff, like at least attribute the word to that, right? Or nowadays, there's so many outlets for people because of the internet. Like, I think people who run a dope Instagram page, that could be art in its own sense. Even like, how we say poetry is art. So why can't someone who runs a motivational Twitter page, I mean, technically, can't that be art? Because it's that person's original content used to convey emotions or arise emotions in someone. I would see it as. I think art is very, very liberal term nowadays. Like, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I'd like to think what I'm able to do in the classroom may be considered art sometimes. If it's a good lesson, why couldn't it be? But that really would go down. I'd have to see the definition of art, though. That's what I'm curious about.
Do you want me to look that up?
If you could, that'd be cool.
Sure.
Because I guess it goes to the point of, if the definition of art is something like, I don't know. It depends how general the definition of art is, right? If it's a specific thing, then I could see it being different or
All right,
whatever.
I have it here actually. So art, noun, the quality, production, expression, or realm according to aesthetic principles of what is beautiful, appealing, or of more than ordinary significance.
So wouldn't you say that that's a very like
I would say that
like
it's a very open definition.
yeah, it's for whoever wants to interpret it. Like I may interpret art as something different than you may interpret art, right? Like
Yeah,
obviously, okay, so here, let's perfect example. Tonight, we are going to watch the UFC fights.
yes,
Some people might just see that brutal nonsense. Oh, people are punching each other in the face. Where other people may see that as art. I personally see it as an art. These people train. They have their own styles. The matchups. Every fight's going to be different. It's an art form, right? So I
I
could see
was
it very
really
artistic.
hoping you would say that.
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years ago? I forget which year it was, and I think it was at the Oscars, where Meryl Streep, I believe,
Hmm.
she stated that she did not believe that mixed martial arts was the arts. She was talking about how like film was the arts, or all the conventional meanings
I remember
of
that. I was
the
like
word.
that was like a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was like back in 2016 or 2015, or whatever the case may be. I think that there comes a point in time where certain people within the traditional arts community can get a little bit snooty,
Like
if you
better,
want
like
to
a
call it
better
that.
than type thing, right? Like
Yeah,
oh my,
ho
I'm better. I'm that's I what I do. I've trained my whole life for, and it's considered a conventional art. Why would you be lumped in with it? Because they don't. I mean, Metal Street probably also doesn't see or know of the like how hard MMA fighters have trained to get where they are. Like, I
yeah, and
mean,
even if she did realize that, she doesn't consider it the arts
yeah.
because again, it's not a traditional art, and
Mhm.
to her, it's not a form of self-expression.
Well, yeah, and to her, she probably doesn't see it as beautiful. Like,
Yeah, and here's the thing. So that's what you were referring to is more of like elitism, and that's within any field anywhere around the world. There's always going to be people within that field that are like top of the line, best at what they do, and they because of that are going to have a certain viewpoint in which they are looking down at people, especially if people aren't within their realm but are trying to say that what they do classifies as the same thing. In terms of like mixed martial arts, the reason I think that mixed martial arts is an art form is because like so there's the conversation of sport versus art form, right? Like certain people say that cheerleading is a sport. I think that it is more of an art form than a sport because it's something that gets judged. Same thing as figure skating. For me, a sport, and this is just my definition, I might piss some people off by saying this, but I think that a sport can be defined as something that can be quantifiably won.
well,
You
okay.
scored the most points, objectively speaking, you win.
So, but the question is then, well, I mean, you said it could be judged, right?
Yeah, and
Um,
I think I'm gonna answer your question in a second, but go on.
all right, because I mean, MMA, it could go to the judges. Um, Gymnastics, I mean, I consider that a sport, and that's 100% judges, which is people opinions.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I'm totally aware. But my thing is, it's hard to like because there's no definitive winner. It's subjective. That's what makes it art to me
Mm.
because it's something that someone says, "I think this is good." It's not someone going, "You are good because of X." I almost consider sports to be more so like math,
Yeah.
whereas I consider arts to be more so like language or like the arts.
Wait, you consider cheerleading an art, or you said you consider cheerleading an art, not a sport?
Yeah, more of an art.
But I'm so here's the
And
thing.
that's just me. That's just
It's
me.
also what type of cheerleading are you talking about? Because like there's like high school cheerleading, and then there's the competition teams, which I feel like neither of us really fully know the extent of.
Yes, yes. And
Because
that's yes.
I think I'd consider more of an art than if you go to like a just I'm going to a football game and there's cheerleaders there.
Oh no, yeah, that's more so. I don't know how to
Because I mean,
describe that.
people train their like lives for that, which I
Yeah,
would consider almost like, I mean, arts obviously you train your lives for it too.
yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know.
And
That's a
that's the
weird one.
thing. Like it. I don't know how to describe it. I understand that my viewpoint isn't going to be everyone's viewpoint, and also it might offend some people that believe true. And if you believe that cheerleading is a sport and figure skating is a sport, yeah, it's. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that to me, why I would classify it more as an art is because it's something that is subjectively judged.
Yeah,
The reason I consider like fight sports more strictly sport than art is because there can be a definitive winner. You can make someone quit, or you can knock somebody out, and they are unable to answer the count of 10.
that is true. That is very true. Um,
And that's the and just to round it back to like the art conversation. And I mean, well, first let me just say this: I believe that all those things that we were talking about, cheerleading, figure skating, all those other things, I believe those are definitely sporting events. You get a large crowd, you perform these athletic feats, and those are true athletes. However, I think that because again that it's something that's judged, much like paintings or films or music, there's criticism involved, and that's how you succeed is if yours gets criticized the least or gets the best review. That's why I would classify it more so as an art. And I hope that doesn't offend people too much. That
I mean,
again, that's my viewpoint. That's all.
if it does, it does. But I mean, that's just because they're not actually taking what you're saying. I mean, it's just probably just them thinking that you're going to talk lesser of it. But it's you
No,
obviously just said. I mean, you just said you don't like. It's
here's
hard.
here's my thing actually. I think that if you're going to dedicate your life to something that where you're getting judged like that on your performance, I think that takes more mental fortitude than it does to go play football or basketball.
Definitely because
Because
you
football and
know.
basketball, it's just result based. You
Hmm.
go out there, you perform, you score, that's it. Here it's okay, I'm going to go out there every single night or every single week, and someone is going to tell me whether I did a good or bad job.
You have to play someone else's game. Whereas,
Exactly.
like, if you're a runner, you know, I got to do this. If I do A, B, and C, I could win. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, barring injuries, but like your physical like attributes may not be able to be pushed to that because of the way you're built.
Yeah.
But if you do A, B, and C, you could be the best in the world. You could do this. I mentally, if you could push yourself, you'll be fine. Whereas, like, if you're doing like cheerleading, like it really all depends like on what the judges think. And yo, you know what, Loki? Ready to hear me go super I don't know, nerdy. I don't even know what I'd call
Go
this.
ahead.
But there was this movie called Stick It, right?
Stick it.
Stick It. So it was a movie. It came out in I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's called Stick It, but it's a gymnastics movie, and the movie's about yeah, 2006 it came out. I had to Google it. So
So did I.
um what it is it's this girl who's like she's edgy, she's like the edgy girl, but she was a really good gymnast, but she didn't like the way that they made her conform, so then she ended up just like saying like screw it, blah blah blah. And she just became like, but then they basically she needed to, I don't remember the full story, but she had to go back to gymnastics for some reason, but she would like want to break the mold of gymnastics. And one of her teammates, like she started influencing the team to be more edgy, and like one of the things it was that is like um one of her teammates, like she did like her flip or whatever, and the judges gave her a low score because they deducted points because her bra strap was showing. So
Mm.
then she took both her bra straps out and like put them around her arms and like kind of like a screw you to the judges. But the thing is, like with that type of stuff, if the judge just doesn't like the way you look, they could literally take off points. And that is mentally probably like devastating. Like even just like beauty
Yep.
pageants, like oh my god.
Oof,
Which
that's
beauty
a different
pageants, I
animal.
mean, low key might be going down to just a validation of yourself, but I don't know why people do it, so I'm not gonna talk crap about it. But it's just like so crazy that you like you're putting yourself out there just for like these select people to judge you and tell you if you're better or not than the next person. Same with bodybuilding competitions and stuff like that. But going
Yeah,
to that, would you consider that an art? Like bodybuilding,
I consider that an art. Me
which is
personally.
like that's that's the thing. Like, how liberal are you willing to go on art? Like, what's the wildest thing that you think you'd consider an art that maybe someone else doesn't?
The thing is, I'm very liberal in terms of my definition of art because I'm someone who is like a. I hate saying this; it's so douchey. I think I'm someone who naturally is a creative individual.
You're a
I always have been.
creator.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm a creator.
I'm a creator.
Yeah, and I think that to dismiss someone else's creativity because it doesn't align with your own, and to swing it back to the original point, I think that is where I take issue. I
Yeah.
take issue with Meryl Streep saying that MMA is not considered one of the arts because what if someone, and this I'm not trying to generalize the mixed martial arts community, but what if somebody had a really rough upbringing as a from like early ages of childhood, and in order to express themselves, they went into the world of mixed martial arts, and it helped them through their circumstances, just like someone with a rough upbringing might go to painting.
Yeah, you got lost in
Or
theater, maybe. Like
yeah, exactly.
it's
I
the
mean, I
one
know for
it's their
me,
one outlet.
yeah, I mean for me, I know that anytime I had a rough time as a kid, film was the thing that I was drawn to, and it's
Hmm.
something that has stuck with me my entire life. For you, it's gaming. It We all have our different outlets and avenues, and I think that to dismiss one as art is, or as not art rather, is BS. And I think to be able to call Marvel movies not cinema, I think that's not true. I think to say that you're not conveying, let's see, what was the exact quote? Emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. You didn't watch the movie then,
I think
especially Marvel movies.
if you look back to maybe like the 90s and there was like a
Sure.
superhero movie, maybe then, but then you're just giving up on everything that they have become. Like, just look at the Marvel arc. Like, from the start of what, Iron Man 1 to where we are
Yeah.
now,
Well,
it
no. I
tells
mean,
okay, look, spoiler alert, ready? Everyone who hasn't seen Avengers Endgame, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, skip ahead, right? But here we go. If you didn't cry when Tony Stark died, or at least tear up a little bit, then how are you gonna like? I feel like everyone in our theater when we went to go see that opening night or teared up because it made you feel something. And how is that not art? If it like,
yeah,
I think art makes you feel things. I think that's the one of the definitions of art. Like, is that you look at something or something does something and it makes you feel an emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, joy, right? Like,
hmm
that's how I would describe it personally.
yeah, me too. And I mean, I'll speak for myself. I was openly sobbing for 5 minutes during that whole sequence of him, his moment over to Steve Rogers' moment. Steve Rogers'
Yeah.
moment made me start like shaking. Yeah. So yeah, it's and if you want to boil it down to character arcs, to say that the Tony arc story, or Tony Stark story rather,
Stony Stark
is
arc story. Try saying that 5 times fast.
phony baloney Tony Caroni. To say that that's not cinema is bullcrap. You have a man who starts off, he is a selfish billionaire, playboy philanthropist, only cares about women and alcohol. He goes through a traumatic experience, loses his friend in the process, has to atone for the sins of himself and his father, then becomes an alcoholic once again. Through this journey, he finds the love of his life, realizes that he wants to protect people. He gets PTSD through trying to do so.
Possibly,
He,
almost. I mean, some may argue even loses the love of his life for a little bit there.
yeah, loses his love of his life for a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Takes on a protege. Winds up being one of the reasons his protege, or he believes at least that his protege died because of him. Has a child, and then has to make the decision to sacrifice himself and leave everyone behind in order to take down someone who was going to
Before
cost
that,
the
but
lives of
before
millions.
that, he had to make the sacrifice of he had the child, right? He loved where
Mhm.
his life was. He made the
Yeah,
sacrifice, saying that okay, I figured out how to do this time travel thing, but I might lose my child because of that because I might bring us back to where I didn't have one. So he had to risk that, and then he went and sacrificed his life.
yep.
Like, how do you not see that and say, look at that character arc? I mean,
It's
Is
yeah,
that one
it's
of the
incredible.
greatest character arcs in all of movie cinema? Like,
Yeah, and I would say it is for sure. It's one of them for sure, in my opinion. However, I think it is in order to use a serialized platform like the Marvel movies have been. I mean, if you think about it, it's almost like a TV show arc
yeah,
instead of a movie arc. But anyways, yeah, I think that all this to say that I think that Scorsese was foul in saying that. But again, at the same time, you're one of the all-time greats. You're allowed to say whatever you want. Once you get that much cachet, it's kind of like, well, who am I to tell you anything? I just disagree with him. I believe you disagree with him too. I think that was a
yeah,
pretty good conversation.
definitely.
I hope I didn't offend any cheerleaders or figure
No.
skaters or gymnasts out there. I don't devalue your sport. I believe that it is a sport, but I just think that I personally classify it more as an art form. And yeah, can you tell that I'm sweating just a little bit?
Do you know what like the other thing is?
What's up?
Yo, this is gonna be flagrant as hell.
Oh God.
Then there's the other option. It's not art or sport.
Oh, people just
And
being
I
like
could give
straight up saying
examples
that.
of the games. I'm talking about games when people want to try to call it a sport, but it's a game.
Oh, like like
Bowling.
like esports and stuff.
Bowling, bro. Bowling.
Oh, bowling
That
set.
pisses me off so much. Bowling's a
You're
game.
scum.
It's not a sport.
No, that's a sport, dude. Go on,
How is it a sport, bro?
bro. Because there is a. It's an athletic feat. You need a skill.
That's a
You
what? But then what's a game?
um. I think games are sports. Actually, I think
No,
all
it's
games
like
can be
okay, it's like
considered a
the whole
sport.
thing where a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, all sports are games. Well, maybe not even. Shit,
See,
some are just competitions.
that's what I'm saying.
Bro, this hurts my head. I woke up with a headache this morning. It started to go away, and it just came back.
Hey, man.
It's disgusting. All right, before I get myself in more trouble, we're gonna have bowlers sliding in our IG DMs and being like, "Hey, what the hell, man?"
John, one
Yeah.
second. I'm just gonna go make sure that phone is not interrupting our call.
All right. Um, before Kyle comes back, I'll just keep talking. You know what? I'm not even gonna cut this out. So, my thing is, what my next question is. We got another listener question, which I will restate for Kyle. The question is, if you could dress up as any movie or gaming character with unlimited budget, unlimited creative team, what would it be? Now, this question messed with my head because it's basically going down to who would who's like your favorite character. But on top of that, I feel like you'd want to utilize all those the options that you got, right? Because I mean, you could come out looking really cool. So I'd want to do a character that is like pretty like I'd be able to get the most bang for my buck of the creative team that I got behind me. So it's one of these questions that I've been thinking long and hard about, and I don't know if I have one solid answer. It's a struggle. And Kyle, did you hear that?
No, come again.
All right, so um, listener question:
Mm.
what movie or gaming character would you dress up as for like Halloween or maybe Comic Con or something, right? If you
Yeah.
had a creative team behind you and unlimited resources, right? So like whatever, like you have a
Mm.
great special effects team or a costume design team, and
Yes.
you don't have to pay for it basically. Like
Sure. All right. So,
what would you do? And like I was saying, I've been thinking about this question since I read it, and it's hard because I would want to utilize the team. Like
mhm.
necessarily what my favorite character is may not be my favorite, but I think it just clicked in my head what I would choose.
All right. So, real quick, do you want to shout out who asked the question? Like
Um,
who they're at or whatever?
same as last week actually.
Oh, okay.
The Pug
That's okay.
Box. Yeah, so on Instagram, but she's just coming in here with these fire questions.
Word. So, here's my dilemma, right? I am like top 10 sweatiest human beings alive, dead or alive, and I have to take that into consideration. Like off rip, I would consider saying like, "Oh, put me in the Iron Man suit," but I would probably get a heat stroke.
Well, they actually make things for those suits that are like cooling systems. Like, like the Disney characters that
Yeah.
have to wear those big suits. They have like cooling systems that run through it. It like pipes like cool water or whatever throughout the suit to
Hmm.
keep you cool in there, so you don't overheat and die. Because think about it, like the Disney characters in Florida, those suits are
Oh my God.
big and
Yeah.
it's 100 degrees outside, right? And you're just getting beat down by the sun, and then you're also moving around and acting like Goofy or whatever. So they have like a whole system for that. So I mean, I'm assuming you'd put that in your Iron Man suit if you wanted to, but that's just me
Hell yeah.
touching on that, just in case you're the choice that you do make, you're afraid to die in.
All right. So let's see. I'm not going to pick anyone with makeup because, again, I would sweat that off. So, but if I can have a suit with a cooling system in it, that makes it interesting.
Right? There's so many
I
layers.
think, man, that's a tough one. Who do you have?
Um, Same tattoo that's on my arm. I'd have to go from Caesar to Planet of the Apes, which is like I'm
Wow.
gonna be sitting there in makeup for a long time. Which obviously, I mean, his character was CGI'd, but I'm talking like it's gonna be like a legit pro. I'm ready to sit there for hours and hours on end to like just for that one Instagram picture,
Yeah.
um, to
Dang.
win a cosplay competition,
Man. Well, that's a tough
right?
question. Okay, I think I have it. I think what I would do is I would want to be the see that's man, this is a really tough question.
Right?
You know what? Screw it. I'm going with the Batman suit that uh that Christian Bale originally wore. Not the second suit. I'm talking about Batman Begins Batman suit. Even though my neck wouldn't be able to move, I think that is one of the best superhero suits that we've seen in movie history. I think that unlike the Dark Knight suit and the Dark Knight Rises suit, which was the same one, I believe, the neck isn't too small. The Batman suit is iconic. It's cool. It gets you all of the slimmies.
Hmm.
And yeah, that would be what I would go with.
That would look cool. That would look cool. Um, yeah, so those are our decisions. Obviously, if you want to get in on this conversation, you could always drop a comment in the YouTube channel. Or if you're on one of the podcast apps, make sure you just message us. Let us know. We can get in on the conversation. Maybe we could talk a little more about it next podcast, just if we have some awesome ideas that come out. But it's funny that we both went movie characters. Like, we didn't even think about the gaming. So that's like a whole different thing. But I don't
It's
know.
too much.
Yeah, I necessarily, there's just too many characters. And
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are as iconic or like that I would enjoy as much as Caesar. So I'm gonna stick with that answer. But as I said, once again, if you have any awesome ideas, let us know. We'd love to get in that conversation. Now to the gaming portion of the podcast. I have a couple things I want to talk about. Some are just real quick. Other is my main topic. So I'm gonna do the main topic quick right now, and then we'll end the stream or end the podcast on just the quick overview of how I feel about Fortnite and Call of Duty right now, and how you feel about Fortnite and Call of Duty. So we're gonna end on that. But right now, my question is, or the topic I want to talk about is the streaming wars that's going on. Last podcast, we talked about the streaming wars of television,
Okay.
and it made me think of the streaming wars that's going on right now for the gaming community,
Mm.
gaming stream, right? So the big players are number 1, Twitch, 2, Mixer, 3, YouTube Live. Some people stream on Facebook Live, I think, but I mean, YouTube and Facebook, it's barely. I personally don't think it does the numbers that Twitch and Mixer. Maybe YouTube might do better than Mixer, but I don't think so. I know that their platform's a little clunky, but those are the three. That's the two big. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because Microsoft is dumping cash, bro. They are like, I assume they see the future as gaming streams or online streaming, even like TV shows, because now there's like talk shows and stuff on Twitch and Mixer, and I think Microsoft sees a big opening here, and they're trying to compete with Amazon, who runs Twitch. Microsoft runs Mixer. and they're trying to compete. And the reason I say that is because from our last podcast, well, originally Mixer dumped a bunch of money on Ninja, and Ninja came over. They dumped a bunch of money on Shroud, who, in my mind, so Ninja is probably the most pop culture streamer. Shroud may be the biggest streamer numbers pulling that I know, right? So live streamer, I think Shroud, just for video game content, he plays first person shooters, and he pulls huge numbers. He pulled huge numbers on Twitch, and I think his numbers are bigger on Mixer right now than Ninja's are, and I think that's wild. Then, now I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know this one. I know they're a variety streamer. I think his name is Goliath or Gathalion, right? They got him to come over. Now they have a pop culture streamer, right? Ninja. They have arguably one of the best first-person shooters or shooter streamer in Shroud. And now they got a variety streamer in Gathalion, or whatever that dude's name. Sorry for butchering your name, but I think it's crazy that they're dumping this money, right? They're trying to make this play, and it's cool to see because, as we always say, even with, going back to the UFC thing, like Bellator came up, competition is great for everybody because it's going to make everyone better. So I am very excited to see where this goes with Mixer. Hopefully more people come on. A couple things I have been reading online is that the problem with Mixer is most of the people on Mixer are streamers. So when you're a smaller streamer like myself or someone else coming in, is most of the people who are going to watch you are also streamers, not very viewers. Like Mixer doesn't have a lot of just people who go on and view things. They're usually a streamer who come over. So what I'm hoping is that these big names do bring some of the viewers over. I do think Mixer needs to solidify a couple more like medium names to start bringing these people over. But I just want to get your take on just that part right there. And then I'm going to throw out some other things that Mixer's doing to try to steal people away. But what do you think about this play that Mixer has done here?
Now, the play in terms of them signing people exclusively to work with them.
Yes.
I think it's brilliant. I think the only way that you're going to... So once a certain platform almost monopolizes an industry, I think it's very hard to get your foot into the door, especially with the mainstream audience. I think that anyone that thinks of streaming personal content, they think of Twitch first because Twitch is the most popular. I don't know if it's the first one to ever do that.
So,
but it's
little background. There originally was a website called Justin TV. And that's where everyone started streaming on. A lot of the big streamers on Twitch started on Justin TV, and they were bought out by Twitch or whatever, and it became Twitch.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like, I think, to be honest, the Joe Rogan Experience, my beloved podcast, I think that started on Justin TV too. I think he started streaming on Justin TV back in the day.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So all right. So well, there you go. Thank you for the history lesson, John.
Boom.
But so go ahead.
No, you go. Go.
So yeah, I think that the only way to really gain traction, and by gaining traction, I mean get viewership, is to get people's favorite stars to come over. So I can only bring this back to some things that I know.
Yeah.
Like in pro wrestling, there is the big company that everyone knows of, WWE. And right now there is I guess what you would consider a startup company called AEW, which stands for All Elite Wrestling, which airs on TNT Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. If you want to see some wrestling, go.
Did you just get paid? And not something.
No,
because that was a perfect little plug in there. Like you had the date, you said the name very clear. You said the date and time on what channel it's on, and it was all crystal. I think that was the clearest part of the stream, this podcast so far, which is wild. So we need to have a talk after this now because I think you are getting the bag over here for ABWC.
Well, so here's why I did that. So the reason that I want this company, I did that because I want this company to succeed, and anyone that has watched wrestling in the past and gave up on it because it's whack now or whatever the case may be, I think that if you check this new show out, it's pretty solid. Now, the reason I brought them up is because they signed, I believe, three former top guys at WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they did that, and granted, one of them started the company. Um, let's say that they signed two former top guys at WWE. Chris Jericho, which a lot of people know of. He's an old school wrestler. He's in his 40s right now, but he's still one of the best talkers of all time. And this guy named formerly Dean Ambrose, now known as John Moxley. The reason you sign these big guys is because people have name value with them. They assign value to them because, oh, I know you from this other place and you were really cool and you were one of the bigger stars back then. I think that means that this new place must be legitimate. So let's give it time, let's give it attention, and let's see what this new promotion is. And their first week out, they did over 1 million viewers. And that's saying something. So I think that, and granted, it's dropped off a little bit here and there each week, but up until the game 7 of the World Series, which was this week, I believe, they were doing over 1 million viewers.
Which is, I mean, I think that's the biggest play. You have to take the name. So it goes back to even what we were saying before the UFC. Obviously, I know. It's the UFC. That's like everyone thinks MMA is UFC. People say, "Oh, you're training the UFC." But then there's Bellator, right? That we both know. And Bellator did the same thing. They wanted to establish their promotion, so they started signing bigger names in mixed martial arts, so it would bring the eyes over. And I mean, at the beginning, they had those basically like showy fights where it was like the old school names and it was going to be a horrible fight, but they knew that it would bring the eyes to their show. And now they're starting to stray away from that a little bit, and they have their own fighters that are bringing people out. So it's cool.
See, that's the key. That right there.
You need to develop your own content. And I think that's what, so here, this goes back to Mixer, right? So another thing Mixer did was what they call the Mixer Academy, right?
Oh, I don't know about this. Please.
Yeah, so what it is they have different sections, and it's like a little class-based thing. They show you videos, they have articles, and then you answer questions, and they give you like badges, right? And what it does is there's one for moderation, there's one for streamer, and then I think there's one for like viewers, right? And it basically teaches you the website, how to use it. The different like streamers will teach you about the different bots they have on the website. It teaches you about the hype zone that you could get in. It teaches you about the streaming bit rates and like how they basically have this like lightning fast connection where they're in a way Mixer is better to stream on than Twitch because there's less of a delay, right? And that's the biggest thing. Like that's what people love. It's kind of crazy because I'll say something on my stream and then people are responding in my chat right away. It's a little weird. It's
very smooth.
And it's almost hard to communicate sometimes. It's so fast, but that's not. I mean, that's a good problem. But they're doing that to build up their streamers, right? So they can make better content. So then people do come over, right? Where this goes into one of my other notes I have. Twitch is losing people, I think. A lot of people are getting angry at Twitch for several reasons, and a couple that I recently read about were they're doing this thing with their viewers where they're like, people need to click on the stream every so often to be counted as a viewer. You need to have your audio on your like web browser to be counted as a viewer, so you can't really mute it. If you like, let's say you have the tab open, so you want to listen to it, but you're like on a different tab, I think it cuts the stream, like it pauses the stream, and you don't count as a viewer there.
Wow,
and then
that's so petty.
The biggest thing that people are pissed off at is the ads that they're doing, right? So not necessarily the content of the ads, but more of the like when they run them. So like as soon as you go into a stream, they run an ad. Now the problem with that is I don't know if I want to watch that streamer yet. I might just be jumping from stream to stream right now, but every time I jump to a new stream, I'm getting this ad, and it's annoying. Like, I have to jump into a stream, and I have to watch this ad that I don't really care about. So why am I going to go out of my way to try to find new streamers to watch when I know I'm going to have to sit through this ad and then might be like, well, this guy sucks, or I'm not enjoying this. Let me go to another one and watch an ad again, right? I literally read that people rather go to the big streamer that they know they're going to like and just sit through that ad once and then go and watch, right? Which is annoying. And the biggest problem is, like, those small streamers don't see anything from that ad. They don't have a choice of getting rid of that ad. They don't make money off that ad. Like, the big streamers, that ad runs, they get money from it.
Yeah.
But the small streamers, it doesn't do anything. And I think Twitch is almost shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, there is something to be said for gaining too much success and
I was
just
just gonna. Oh man, I was just gonna ask you that if you didn't go there. That's so crazy. Yeah, our minds are
yeah.
in sync, bro.
So I mean that's the thing. Once you get to a certain, and this is why monopolies are never good because once you get to a certain level of success,
You abuse your
yeah, who's gonna tell you no?
exactly.
Because what you've done up until this point has worked for you financially. Now, if your user base, your viewers, your fans, whatever you want to call them, start complaining, you might go, "Oh, they're just being fickle. They don't like me because I'm the biggest around." No, it's because your content or your product is subpar according to your supporters and people that want to like your stuff, and you're not giving them what they want or what they deserve. And that's why I think competition is great. That's why I was very big on you moving to Mixer when you did. I was very happy that Ninja made the move. I was very happy when what's this guy? Shroud?
Shroud.
That Shroud made the
Yeah.
move even though I hadn't heard of him before. I think that it's great. I think that giving people options makes the people that are in the industry try their best to be great. And
Yeah.
that's all we really want. We want to be happy consumers, right?
Exactly. And I think I'm not saying Mixer's perfect, right? Like there's still some problems on there. Um the fact that like now they're really releasing this Embers for all every thing where most streamers or you apply and you could get Embers now. Like I could currently receive Embers, which could make me some money. Supposedly they're going to be releasing subs for channels, all channels instead of just partners. Which I do think they should have like a little bit of an affiliate program just to give some people to like a goal to work towards. Like Twitch is easy. It's 50 followers, a certain amount of viewers. I mean, it's not crazy easy, but it's decently easy where it's reasonable for a smaller person to get it. Um, and then also I do think they need to work something out like how Twitch has Twitch Prime. Microsoft, I know like a lot of Xbox Gold members, they feel like they should get free subs to a channel once a month, like how Amazon Prime has it. And I agree,
Mm,
they need to work those things in, but yet again, they're still smaller, right? They're just started popping off. And I do think they're going in the right direction, and I hope they do continue to listen to the feedback that they have that they're getting to make this a great channel. Because now I think if we have that battle between these two channels, it's just going to get better and better for people. And I think that battle may bring more people on who necessarily won't even watch streams just to be like, oh, what's all this hype about? And they start watching streams, maybe they enjoy it, and then we get more viewers. So I do think this battle overall is going to be great, and it's exciting. I'm excited to see where everything goes.
I agree.
And
Hashtag Team Mixer.
final wrap ups. Obviously, since our last one, Call of Duty came out, and
Yes.
our opinions once again have totally flipped. Right,
I want to make that clear for anyone
bro.
who's
We are the
listening.
most bipolar
So
gamers I
that's the
think
thing.
ever.
We are I like to think of you and I as intelligent individuals,
Yes.
and people with true intellect.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just set their mind on one thing, and that is fact. We
Yes.
are like scientists. Once given new evidence, we change our opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and
But
that's how
now
life should be.
here's the problem, right?
Mm.
So obviously, if you didn't listen to the last one, Colin and I thought like, oh, we're so excited about Fortnite, we don't even care about Call of Duty. But now, Call of Duty is so much fun,
Yeah, it's
bro.
such a good game.
But also, so is Fortnite.
Yeah,
I'm so stressed with how to divide
yeah.
my time up right now, because 2 days ago played Fortnite, last night played Call of Duty. Um, Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm gonna play. And it stresses me out, man, because I want to play Fortnite because Fortnite's so much fun. Um, I like my skill level at it, but I like playing. I'm like addicted to Call of Duty right now. I do want to play that, but like I love playing Fortnite. I don't know, like it's hard.
Yeah, it's super hard. And well, this actually links back to our previous conversation just now. We had a game that was monopolizing the industry
Yes.
in terms of the shooting game industry
Yeah.
in Call of Duty. And
They
then
got
that
stagnant.
they got stagnant. Their viewer and user base started to get really angry.
Mm-hmm.
And then a new game came up, Fortnite, which dominated the industry for what, 2 years?
They're the one who two and a half, three maybe. They're the one who blew up streaming. I think. I think without Fortnite, streaming wouldn't be where it is.
Yeah,
Which
and
we gave Fortnite all type in the past, so we don't need to go over that again.
yeah,
But
of course.
they did blow up. But then they
Yes,
got
and then
stagnant.
they got stagnant. Yep, and now this forced Call of Duty to step their game up,
Mm-hmm.
literally. And then so now Fortnite, realizing that their user base was getting really pissed off and seeing that Call of Duty was on their ass,
Yes.
they released a fire new season. Our friend who mocked us for over a year for playing Fortnite is now playing Fortnite, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We are not exaggerating. This is a great season.
Yeah, but then Call of Duty comes out.
And it's fire. It's
Why?
so
And
fun.
the reason is because they went back to their basics, man, right? So
Yeah.
not all the maps are the best, right?
No.
There's still gun problems, right? We obviously with the shotgun problem right now is crazy.
Oh my god. And scoping in, it takes for fucking ever.
Yeah. Then there's campers, obviously, but that's just the meta of the game.
Yeah.
So it does like piss you off, but it feels nostalgic, right? Like it's a lot of fun. I think viewers are actually enjoying watching it more than I thought they would, which is
You
cool.
had a lot of viewers yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm watching like just looking at the numbers on Twitch and Mixer. It's almost even with Fortnite and Call of Duty right now. Now
Wow.
and that's the thing. The big streamers are jumping back and forth too. They're having the same problem where they're like, I want to play Fortnite, but I also want to play Call of Duty. They're both fun. I don't know what to do. Like, you have to divide your time very reasonably now. But it's very exciting because once again, just like what we said with the streams, there's this battle, and I think it's just going to make both games better. Now there is some things that I do think that Call of Duty should do, almost like a battle pass thing. I don't necessarily think if they do release more maps, I hope that you don't have to pay for it. I think that could hurt them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I know I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, me neither. Which they, to be honest, they probably will.
Yeah. But they need to start taking that more of maybe a battle pass type thing where they make some of their money off of that, but then giving us free things too, free updates, to keep the game fresh, to keep us playing. I mean, but that's what I said last time. I don't even think they should release a yearly game. I think they should just have a game and then do the Fortnite method where you update it every season, right, with new things. And then what Fortnite did every 10 seasons, which I don't even know if you have to wait that long because, I mean, Apex did it in like 2 to try to stay fresh, which Apex is up there too. I don't want to like shame them, but they are out there still. Obviously we're not really big fans of it, but it's just cool where we are. I like these battles. It's making me really excited about gaming in general, streaming in general, and it's going to be fun.
For sure.
Do you got any final closing thoughts that you want to get out there?
For any of my fellow moviegoers out there, this is the season that we have all been waiting for. It's November, which means it's Oscar movie season. John and I are going to watch Jojo Rabbit tonight before the fights. This is actually a content perfect storm, as I like to call it,
Yes.
for John and myself. And just there's a lot to look forward to, man. This month we got Jojo Rabbit. The Lighthouse just came out last week. I'm working on a review/analysis video, which will be
Which
up
I
on
still
my YouTube
I
channel.
want to see that movie because I've
For
heard
sure.
so many mixed things about it. It intrigues me.
Yeah, if you're anyone that enjoys and appreciates filmmaking, definitely the movie for you. Go watch it. If you're someone that doesn't like abstract films, I don't recommend it.
And then we got the big blockbusters coming out, Star Wars, which
Star Wars.
I'm praying.
Ford v Ferrari, which looks awesome.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, The Irishman, which comes out on
Oh.
Netflix on the 27th.
Yeah. Wait, that's a Netflix movie?
Yeah, bro.
Whoa. I thought that was going.
Yeah,
Dude, that's crazy. That goes back to what we talked about last week. That's
I
such a big
know,
budget
bro.
movie.
Dude, and the technology that they used for that could not have been inexpensive.
Dude,
No shot.
This is crazy. It's so exciting. Yo, we're
So exciting times for moviegoers right now.
so excited for
Enjoy
content,
it.
bro.
Yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which we'll get into the plug,
Yes.
because I'll be discussing all these movies and stuff like that. It's just an exciting time, man. Exciting time.
Yeah, and as I said, I'm excited about movies, the games. I mean, I'm almost overwhelmed about it. Like it's fun. It's keeping everything fresh. I'm excited for the days off I have of work to dig into these things.
Ooh,
Um,
I'm going to
ooh,
challenge you real quick.
yeah,
Final prediction: who becomes the first ever
man.
inaugural BMF champion?
Ooh. Damn. And I told you yesterday. I think it's gonna be Jorge Masvidal. I don't see Nate Diaz beating him just because of the way their styles match up.
Hmm.
But obviously it's Diaz, so it can he pulls things off, man. Right? He's durable. Maybe he can tire Masvidal out because he is a 5-round fighter. He has that endurance for days. He gets better as he goes. He's like a tidal wave, they say. So he pushes, and it's just overwhelming pressure. So with that, I think Masvidal's going to get it done, but I will not be surprised if Diaz can do it too. Now, who do I want to win? Both. It's a weird situation, but I think Masvidal's going to do it.
Okay. I'm going to predict my guy, Nate Diaz. I think if he does this, this solidifies him as a mixed martial arts legend,
Yeah.
as if the series with Conor McGregor didn't already do that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Nate Diaz rather wins this belt, Conor wins his fight in January or
We
February, I
get
forget.
a trilogy fight.
Trilogy at the end of 2020.
Oof, dude, I got
You can
chills.
hear the excitement in
I
my
got
voice. Let's
chills. I
go. I
got
want that
chills.
so bad.
I got
Oh my gosh.
chills. That's crazy.
Um, yeah. So, and by the time this podcast comes out, we will have already known what the
Yeah,
results of this fight
but
are.
as we said,
So,
we're recording this early Saturday, so
yeah.
um,
So,
yeah.
yeah. I believe that'll do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
John, where can people find you?
So as always, I am Ginger Gorilla on Mixer, Ginger Gorilla Gaming on Instagram and Twitter, Ginger Gorilla Gaming on YouTube, where maybe you're watching this. But also for this podcast, you could find us on, before we get to Kyle stuff, you could find us on any of the big platforms now, right? So we are on all your favorite podcasting apps. We are on YouTube. Make sure you like us, share it with your friends if you enjoy it and you know someone who else is going to enjoy it. Make sure you share it. And obviously, once again, as I said earlier, get in with us on the conversation. We love to talk about these things. We like new ideas to talk about. If you have any listener questions, you could DM Kyle, you could DM me. I'm going to put up stories asking for listener questions about a day or two ahead of time. And yeah, that's that. Kyle, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Buff Charmander. You can find me on YouTube, Geeks Weekly. That's 2 words. You can follow the Geeks Weekly social medias at Geeks Weekly _. And I believe that's it for all my links.
Yep.
So once again, I have been Kyle from Geeks Weekly,
And I am John, the Ginger Gorilla.
and we will see you again next time. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Peace out, everybody.